When curiosity takes hold and imagination takes over, where will you find your answers? What will you do when inspiration strikes? Come in close and listen closer. Go beyond the constructs of today and invent your own tomorrow. So, what will you create?
Scientific literacy is vital to preparing the workforce of tomorrow to meet the ever-increasing demands for expertise in science and innovation. Science A to Z is an award-winning K-6 product that delivers thousands of high-quality, affordable resources for students and teachers. Students increase their scientific literacy while also developing key reading skills. This blended approach to science and reading instruction empowers teachers with the tools they need to teach both subjects at once. Science A to Z units provide breadth and depth of science content, plus countless opportunities for literacy practice, including writing, speaking, and listening. With digital e-resources that can also be printed and projected, teachers can customize instruction for one-to-one, small group, and whole class environments, fostering independent practice and peer collaboration. Many reading materials are available at multiple reading levels to support differentiated instruction. Units are organized into grade spans within each scientific domain, with dozens of resources offered in each unit. Multi-level nonfiction books provide an introduction to core science concepts and the specialized vocabulary of science. Each level of the book is accompanied by a corresponding quiz. Hands-on process activities engage students in science experiments and investigations. Investigation packs foster close reading as students demonstrate the 21st century skills of collaboration, communication, and critical thinking. While the high-interest focus books were designed with the next-generation science standards in mind, including a book quiz and an open-ended challenge that engages students in key science and engineering practices. Each focus book and quiz for grades K through 4 are also available in Spanish for ELL and dual language learners. There's a collection of science videos with accompanying discussion questions, helping students learn about science content from a variety of media sources. Finally, with project-based learning packs, students participate in an open-ended, team-based science or engineering project. All Science A to Z resources are created to help students satisfy standards in both science and language arts. In addition, Science A to Z provides storylines designed to help teachers address all three dimensions of the next-generation science standards within one coherent sequence of lessons. Science A to Z organizes teacher lesson plans along with a lesson-by-lesson sequence of resources to help explore disciplinary core ideas and cross-cutting concepts and engage in science and engineering practices for an integrated, three-dimensional learning experience. Individual lesson and storyline lesson plans are available in printable and digital formats. Using the Kids A to Z e-learning platform, students can improve their scientific literacy and reading skills anytime, anywhere. Students have access to their customized unit assignment, which is full of engaging interactive e-resources, as well as an independent science library, which fuels their natural curiosity about science topics. Students access their e-resources in an interactive, kid-friendly environment where they can listen to the content while viewing highlighted words and phrases, read the book at their own pace, record themselves reading aloud, use an assortment of interactive tools and features that promote close reading and critical thinking, and take a corresponding e-quiz to evaluate scientific and reading comprehension. Science A to Z also makes it easy for you to manage student online progress using the Kids A to Z portal. You can easily monitor each student's progress through the assigned unit, the number of resources read and viewed, quiz scores, and performance on reading comprehension skills. You can listen to the students' practice recordings and assess their constructed response quiz items. Every student is curious about the world around them. Science A to Z fosters that curiosity and helps you light the spark that can lead to a lifetime of learning about science. By getting kids excited about STEM subjects from an early age and by helping them develop the reading and science skills they'll need, you can prepare children for success in school and to fill important roles in the careers of tomorrow. Start using Science A to Z in your classroom today.
Today, coding is an essential skill we need to teach our children. Just like math, science, or English, getting kids to engage with coding is in everybody's interest. CodeMonkey, an award-winning online game, is the only platform that gets kids as young as 8 to write real code through a fun, engaging game.
זה משחק שממש מלמד ילדים בכיתה ב' וג' לכתוב קוד. זה דבר בלתי נתפס, אבל זה קורה, זה אמיתי.
CodeMonkey partnered with CET, Israel's largest publisher, to offer the CodeMonkey Coding Olympics, chosen by the Ministry of Education for a nationwide rollout.
1,700 schools participated daily for 3 months. CodeMonkey's special characteristics made it self-driven and easy for the schools to implement. The top-performing schools sent teams to train in a boot camp and then to compete in the finals mega event.
The results of the CodeMonkey Coding Olympics were beyond any expectations.
Last week, we completed 253,000 kids in Israel played CodeMonkey and learned code.
Thousands of children fell in love with coding, and a whole new coding movement was formed across the nation.
אני למדתי הרבה מאוד דברים חדשים, כי זה מלמד לתכנת ממש את הבסיס של הבסיס.
CodeMonkey is now expanding globally, applying the unique know-how demonstrated in the Olympics into further countries.
By introducing coding to your students, you would be opening up a new and exciting world of opportunities for them today, and there will be no limits to where they can be tomorrow.
כל שלב אני הצלחתי ויצא לי שמחה בלב. הייתי רוצה גם ששנה הבאה יהיה CodeMonkey.
CodeMonkey, write code, catch bananas, save the world.
The world is rapidly advancing, and with its continuous development, technology has become an integral part of our lives. So I ask you, is your child prepared for a knowledge-based future? Well, Graphite Academy has got your back. Innovation, knowledge, and critical thinking is what our academy offers. Founded in 2016 to prepare students for a highly digitalized future, we have conducted programs in over 120 different schools and have taught more than 10,000 students to date. Our quality coding curriculum is designed to impart analytical and critical thinking. Its challenging nature aids students in thinking beyond the prescribed course, preparing them to solve complicated problems. This pedagogy-focused curriculum is delivered to our students with a handful of specialists in coding and passionate faculty. The strategy of small-sized classes adds to a conducive learning environment where students can polish their thinking skills. Progressive curriculum, active parent engagement, extensive exposure to multiple platforms ensures that your child is equipped with ample amount of skill that could be advantageous for them in the workplace tomorrow. Our rigorous teaching system ensures that our faculty is well trained to provide educational and enjoyable lessons. We hold the pride of yielding knowledgeable, creative, and critical minds. So what are you waiting for? Get in touch with us.
Hi, I'm Paul Kim. I'm the Chief Technology Officer and Associate Dean at the Graduate School of Education at Stanford University. When I educate students, I would always emphasize the goal of knowing yourself and knowing others, and that would require a certain set of mindsets and attitudes. I call this global leaders who understand what the grand challenges may be for this world, and knowing the dire needs that others might have. Our programs are designed to address the challenges of today and also challenges of tomorrow. FlyingCape has a vast array of network with education leaders and education service in Singapore and in many other countries. The team focuses on understanding the learners and helping them find their best talent. And at the same time, help more students to become better and successful learners for life.
Plus is a dynamic blended learning platform that combines teacher-led instruction, independent practice, formative assessment, and data-driven reporting to improve the reading skills of every student at every level. By providing high-quality instructional tools with high-interest leveled books in multiple formats, RAS Plus strengthens the connection between what is being taught and what students are practicing on their own. Teachers can easily assign digital resources to reinforce instruction that students can access online anytime, anywhere. Through our Kids A to Z e-learning portal, students can access content assigned by their teacher or read designated leveled books on their own using a computer or mobile device. Every leveled book on RAS Plus utilizes our best-in-class leveling system to ensure a developmentally appropriate reading experience for your students. All online reading activity and assessment results are tracked and reported back to the teacher through online, data-driven reports, making it easy to see what's working and inform future instruction. With RAS Plus, it's never been easier to combine effective whole class, small group, and one-to-one learning with engaging, developmentally appropriate reading practice. Teachers and students both have all the resources they need, all in one place. Great job this week! Your reading's really improved. Start your free 2-week trial today to see how RAS Plus takes students' reading to the next level.
The world is rapidly advancing, and with its continuous development, technology has become an integral part of our lives. So I ask you, is your child prepared for a knowledge-based future? Well, Graphite Academy has got your back. Innovation, knowledge, and critical thinking is what our academy offers. Founded in 2016 to prepare students for a highly digitalized future, we have conducted programs in over 120 different schools and have taught more than 10,000 students to date. Our quality coding curriculum is designed to impart analytical and critical thinking. Its challenging nature aids students in thinking beyond the prescribed course, preparing them to solve complicated problems. This pedagogy-focused curriculum is delivered to our students with a handful of specialists in coding and passionate faculty. The strategy of small-sized classes adds to a conducive learning environment where students can polish their thinking skills. Progressive curriculum, active parent engagement, extensive exposure to multiple platforms ensures that your child is equipped with ample amount of skill that could be advantageous for them in the workplace tomorrow. Our rigorous teaching system ensures that our faculty is well trained to provide educational and enjoyable lessons. We hold the pride of yielding knowledgeable, creative, and critical minds. So what are you waiting for? Get in touch with us.
Hi, I'm Paul Kim. I'm the Chief Technology Officer and Associate Dean at the Graduate School of Education at Stanford University. When I educate students, I would always emphasize the goal of knowing yourself and knowing others, and that would require a certain set of mindsets and attitudes. I call this global leaders who understand what the grand challenges may be for this world, and knowing the dire needs that others might have. Our programs are designed to address the challenges of today and also the challenges of tomorrow. FlyingCape has a vast array of network with education leaders and education service in Singapore and in many other countries. The team focuses on understanding the learners and helping them find their best talent, and at the same time help more students to become better and successful learners for life.
All right, students, welcome back to day 2 of the Coding Olympics Singapore 2021. Welcome everyone. Now, before we begin, all right, I see a lot of you are very excited. So before we start, can everyone just send one comment, all right, just one comment of what you learned from yesterday. So just share one comment on what you learned from yesterday before we start class, all right? So very simple, before we start, just share one comment on what you learned from yesterday, and then we will move on from there. All right. So share something you learned, something you enjoy. I see people saying loops. I see a lot of loops. Seems like you all enjoyed the loops. You learn about angles, very good. And you learn how to use angles, very good. Welcome back, students. Wow, a lot of loops. Looks like you already enjoyed the loops. All right, so a lot of loops. You can minus your steps, very good. We learn how to minus our steps as well. And we also learned, so yesterday we covered 3 things. We covered angles. We covered negative numbers. Negative numbers, remember, represents the opposite of what you want it to do. And right now, we also covered loops, and we also learned about functions. What kind of functions? We learned about turn 2. We learned turn 2, we learned, times, very good. So a lot of things we covered yesterday. Now today, we're going to be covering a lot more things. But before we begin, quick introduction and some announcements to be made, okay? So quick one. So again, welcome everyone. My name is Mr. Jonathan, and I've been teaching coding since 2016. I've taught in a lot of MOE schools, and right now I've conducted over 8,000 hours of coding classes. So it's good to see everyone again. Now, where are you watching this from? Some of you are watching this on the CodeMonkey Facebook page. Some of you are watching it on the Graphite Academy Facebook page. Now, some of you are on the MangoSTEEMS YouTube page. Some of you are on the Science Center YouTube page. So students, when you're watching all these videos on all these platforms, if it gets too laggy, feel free to change around these 4 platforms. The live stream is available on all these 4 platforms for you to watch the training itself, all right? Now, a couple of announcements. Again, students, if you have not logged in, please log into your CodeMonkey account. Remember, all of you should have received an email covering all the important concepts. So that's where your confirmation number will be, your competition ID, right? So we're covering your competition ID, and then your category as well as your password. So take note on all these things. If you have not logged in, please log in so that we can start class accordingly, all right? Now, today is day 2. Day 2 will be covering challenges 30 to 50. So take note, there's a little typo. We'll be covering challenge 30 to 50. And the next few days we'll start at 3 p.m. again to cover more things as well. Same rules to follow, students. You should be able to hear me at all times. If you are unable to hear me, please take note. Students, please do your best to follow all instructions given by myself. Any questions, please raise in the comments. Now, students, understand some of you had questions you were stuck on yesterday. You were stuck on some of the challenges. Take note, these challenges, if many students are stuck on, will be covered when we go through the challenges. So take note on that. Make sure you read all instructions properly. And take note, this is a hands-on session. So students will go on practice time during the lesson, which means during certain timings, we will give you maybe about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 or even 20 minutes to practice the challenges. This practice time is for you to work on these challenges after understanding the concepts we have covered. So some of you may have been able to understand the concepts, some of you may not be able to understand. So our job today is to make sure you're clear on the theoretical concepts covered in this lesson itself, all right? So take note, challenges are allocated specific time slots for these things to move, all right? So students, again, for those who have not logged in, please log into your CodeMonkey account. You can access it via the HTTPS, the URL below, so you can access them as well. Once you are in, please get to Coding Adventure Part 1, and we can start class very soon. So students, if you're not there, please go to Coding Adventure Part 1, and we will start class very soon, all right? So today we're going to be covering challenges 31 to 50. Take note, why 31 to 50? Because variables is a very critical and important concept in coding itself. We want to make sure your understanding of variables are great. We want to make sure you're well prepared for the competition. So just take note, variables is a crucial part of the competition. So you will be covering variables on day 2. Day 2 is challenging. Again, students, during this entire period, if we miss any of your questions, or if you miss any of the portion, please take note, you can review the recording of all these training sessions on all the 4 platforms. So just take note, you'll be able to review the recording on all these 4 platforms itself, all right? So now, we're going to start variables very soon, and most importantly, to understand now, if you see the light bulb, students, take note, the light bulb is there to represent something important, for you to take note. So take note, this is a very important concept, variables. Now, variables act like a store of information. The easiest way to understand variables is understanding it as a box, right? So in many cases, you are not sure what's inside a box. You can change items in a box. So just take note, variables act like a store of information, and you can refer to it or later change it. In this case, we use the word manipulate, but you can change it as time goes on. So that's what variables are. So again, I repeat, variables act like a store of information. You can refer to them or later use them and change them accordingly. So easiest way to understand this, students, think of this like the library books. Library, there's a lot of books available. Each book represents a variable. In that variable, there's a lot of information that you can refer to. All right, so that is your variables itself. Now, what's going to happen next? In about in a couple of minutes, I'm going to share my CodeMonkey screen. I will cover challenge 31 with you. Once we cover challenge 31, we'll have a little bit of practice time, and then we'll cover all the challenges from 31 to 40 that you have difficulty with. So all we're going to be doing is we're going to be covering the first 10 challenges accordingly, right? So we're going to be covering that in a bit. So let me change my screen in a while. All right, so students, before we begin, are you all able to see my CodeMonkey screen? If you can see my CodeMonkey screen, send a yes to the chat. You will see that I'm already on challenge 31. So if you can see my screen, all right, you can see my CodeMonkey screen, send a yes, and we can get ready to go, all right? So I just want to see a yes. Yeah. Some people say no. So those who can't see, I'll give you some time to, get access to the screen, all right? Very good. Yeah. Okay, looks like a lot of you are able to see it. So I'm going to be covering challenge 31, and exactly I'll be explaining variables as well. After that, you have a short time to work on challenge 31 to 40. So take note, I'm going to be covering challenge 31. This is to make sure you're okay with variables. After that, we'll cover the rest. All right, so challenge 31 is quite simple. If you notice, it says x equals to 10. Now, in this particular challenge, x represents x is the variable, all right? And in that variable, we store a value of 10, all right? So take note on it. In this challenge itself, you notice that x is the variable. So we made a variable x equals to 10. And that variable x stores a value of 10. So take note on that, okay? So x is the variable, and we store a value of 10 inside. So what do we do next? Very simple. We press run, and we notice that oh no, the value in x is not enough for us to go to the banana. So the value in x is not enough steps. So what do? What we can do when we work with variables, remember variables are a store of information where we can adjust the information or change the information according to what we want. All right, so take note on that. Now what's going to happen is I will now take my ruler and measure. Remember, we learned angles yesterday, so the ruler right now all can use angles, yeah? So I'm just going to measure my ruler to the banana, and you'll notice that the steps is actually 20. So what I will do, I will now change my x equals to 20, and right now I will update my comments to store a value of 20. If you run the program, you'll notice now the monkey will step the appropriate number of steps to the banana itself. For students who are asking, I saw some students asking, yes, the hashtag represents comments. So the hashtag is a way for coders to kind of share or to explain certain code in their basically program itself. So all I did was I did a hashtag and I explained to you x is the variable, and in that variable we store a value of 10. Now here's something interesting that we can do as well. So instead of naming the value x, this is something bonus for everyone, I can change the name of the variable. So for those who are familiar with Scratch, you can create your own variables. We can actually change the name of our variables. Now, what do I mean? So let's say instead of x, I want to name it a variable. So maybe I want to name this variable, let's see, something interesting. What do we want to name it? Let's name the variable an animal. So maybe we call the variable cat, all right? So now I've made a variable called cat, example, and instead of x, you realize the word cat is now the variable, and in that variable, we store a value of 20. Now, for this to work, we can no longer use x. Why can't we use x? Because now our variable is cat, and now if we step cat, we will notice that right away, your monkey is able to get to the banana. So that is something interesting. So take note, students, variables function differently in different contexts. In this particular case, I've named it cat. Students, you can name it whatever you want. Just take note, your variable created must represent or must be included in your code itself. So line 1, can you see, is the variable. Line 2 is the code. Now, what we're going to do very soon is we are going to go for a quick practice session. So students, you're going to be covering challenges 31 to 40. So hang on, let me just swap my screen again. So give me a while, let me swap my screen. Okay, so you all will see variables right now. What's going to happen is, students, we're going to give you about 15 minutes, just 15 minutes, quick one. We are going to go for a quick practice session. So students, for those who are here, we're going to be covering challenges 31 to 40. Now, during this 15 minutes, if you have any difficulties or if you're stuck at any challenges, please sound them off in the comments and we will cover them accordingly. So students, again, if there's, let's say, example, there's a lot of demand for challenge 34. So if 34 is a challenge where a lot of students are stuck at, we will cover this challenge accordingly, all right? So take note that if you have any questions, any concepts you find difficult, feel free to ask them as well. We will address them accordingly. So take note, challenges. So now we're going to go on a quick 15-minute practice time. So from challenge 31 to 40, in 15 minutes, we'll come back and we'll review all the challenges that you have covered so far, all right? So we'll go on that and we'll go on that for a quick while. Students, I'll see you in about 15 minutes. We are covering challenges 31 to 40. See you in a bit. Hi students, welcome back to the competition. I see a lot of you are having difficulties with the variable concept. So not a worry, we are going to be going through all the challenges that you have requested for. And looking at the comments, it looks like all of you have requested for almost every single challenge from challenge 33 onwards. So what I'll do in a very short while is I'll be covering challenge 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40. So I'll be covering all 7 challenges. So please pay attention. I'll be covering challenges 33 to 40, all right? So that's what we'll be covering in just a short while. So hang on in the meantime, stay around, make sure all your challenges are answered, okay? So again, I repeat, we're covering challenges 33 onwards. On challenge 33 onwards, we'll be covering all the way till challenge 40. So for those who are stuck, please do your best to pay attention so we can make sure all your queries are answered, all right? So let's go to our CodeMonkey page. So welcome to challenge 33. Now, some of you are stuck on this because right now on challenge 33, we have 3 different variables. Now on challenge 33, we have 3 different variables. Now, when we have 3 different variables, the first thing we go and we need to understand is what do the variables represent. So in this scenario, what I would do is I would put a hashtag. And this tells me that n is the variable and it stores the number of times to repeat. So that is my first variable. So take note on that. My first variable n represents the number of times we need to repeat. Now, next thing is we look at x. So x means x is the variable and it stores the number of steps for my monkey to walk. So take note of that. So we covered 2 variables so far. We covered the first variable was n, which represents the number of times that is required for the repeat loop to run. So remember yesterday we know about loops. What happens here is right now they're combining the variables with the loops, all right? So right now they're combining the variables with the loops. And this is, so next variable is d, and d is the variable and it stores the angle required to turn. So this is challenge 33. All you got to do is understand what these variables represent. Once you understand what these variables represent, it's easier to do the challenge. So let's run the program and see what happens. So I run the program and you notice that, oh no, my monkey is not moving enough steps. So the first problem is my monkey is not moving enough steps required. So I'll take my ruler and measure. If you notice, it's in a hexagon shape, right? So 5 sides. So the sides are all the same. I will now change my x instead of 5 because I don't have enough steps. I will change it to 10. So let's see what happens. Once I change it to 10, you notice now my monkey is able to get to all the bananas, and that is it for challenge 33. Students, if I manage to solve your query for challenge 33, please send a yes, send a thumbs up so I know you're good to go, and then we can move on to challenge 34. I see a lot of requests for challenge 34, so we're about to move on to that. So all those who had troubles with 33, have I solved your queries? If it's done, give us a thumbs up, give us a yes, so we can move on to 34. All right. All right, very good. Let's move on to 34. Now, remember, students, when we work with variables, we must always understand what the variables represent. All right, so it's the same thing again. So we look at this code and immediately the first thing we do is to understand what the variables represent. So T, again, is the variable and it stores the number of times to repeat. So that is T, right? Now, what is 10? Again, X is the variable and it stores the number of steps to walk. So 2 things we covered again. 34, right? T, number of times to repeat. X, number of steps to walk. Now, we all know D. D represents something else. D represents, what does D represent, student? If you know what D represents, send it to the chat. All right, what does D represent? Send it to the comments so we know what does D represent. So you need to understand all these things, yeah? So students, what does D represent? Send it to the comments so we know you understand what's going on. So we see, do we need to write there? What is the X? The X. Angle, very good. D represents angle. Great job, students. Who was that? So D represents angles. So D is the variable. And now D stores the number, the angle required to turn. So let's run the program and see what happens. So when we run the program, we notice, hey, T times represents, so we know there are 3 lines of banana to take. Instead of using 1, we will now change T to 3. So with 3, we should be able to walk. Now, the next thing to take note is we need to measure how far it requires to move from where the monkey is to the last banana. Now, remember, there's a math concept we learned in math. It's called polygons, and regular polygons have the same length of sides, right? So their sides are the same. So if it's 20 steps here, this is a triangle, it's 20 steps for all. So I will now change X equals to 20. Now, if I do it correctly, students, if I run the program, you will notice that my monkey should be able to turn. So let's see whether my monkey turns, all right? So if you do it accordingly, now you notice that my monkey is now able to take all 3 bananas in all the 3 lines. All right, so that is challenge 34. So again, students, when we are working with, very good, somebody said equilateral triangle. Very good. When we are working with variables, remember, your job is to understand what the variables represent. Once you understand what the variables represent, it's a lot easier for you to complete the challenge. So students, that is challenge 34. All right, so that is challenge 34. Now I'm going to move on to challenge 35 in a bit. So students, for those who are still doing 33 and 34, do your best to catch up. What we're going to do next is we're going to move to challenge 35, all right? Challenge 35 is where you define your own variable, all right? So challenge 35 is where you define your own variable. When we define our own variable, we have to be very clear. What are we defining, all right? So we're going to cover challenge 35. Yep, students, just to let you know, I will be covering challenges 33 to 40. All right, so challenges 33 to 40. For those who are not able to proceed with the challenge, take note, challenges 29 and 30 have been covered yesterday in the day 1 training, so I won't be covering them today. Now, challenges 33 to 40 is highly requested. We'll be covering all these 7 challenges in a bit, all right? Now, in this particular scenario, challenge 35, we now need to define the variable. So the first variable we notice is that, you'll notice, students, there is a variable named X. So there is a variable named X, turtle, step X, turn left, step X. Now, the question is, what does X represent? So right now, X doesn't represent anything, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to create a variable called X equals, now what do we equals it? So again, we go back to the concept of polygons. We learned that regular polygons have the same sides. So in this particular scenario, we have a square. And in that square, you notice it looks like a square, right? In that square, we have a length of 15 steps for each side. So all I got to do on 35 is change it to X equals 15. And again, to make sure it's clear for students, I will say now, X is the variable and it represents, or it stores, the value number of steps required. Now, if I do it correctly on challenge 35, you will notice right off the bat, my monkey will now ride the turtle. My monkey crosses the river and he goes to the last banana. So that is challenge 35. Now, students, this is the 3 challenges so far. I just want to make sure, students, from challenges 33 to 35, are you all okay with it? If you're okay with it, send a yes before I move on to 36. I don't want to go too fast. Ethan, I've already covered until 33, so please refer to the playback, all right? There's still people asking for 33 yet. No, you are not ready, yeah? Okay, I'm going to cover 33 one more time because I see some of you are not ready. I'll just cover a quick one on 33 again so you understand how it works. Then I'll move on to 36, okay? So for those who are still stuck on 33, take note. For those who would like to do, for those who are still doing 33, 34, 35, do your best to catch up. After I cover 33 again, I will move on to challenge 36. So take note, after I cover challenge 33 again, I'll move on to 36, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, okay? So take note on those, all right? Now, challenge 33, again, for those who are not there yet, take note, take note, all right? This is what we need to do. Every time we work with variables, we must first define what the variable represents. So n represents number of times to repeat. X represents number of steps required to walk. And D represents the turning angle required. Now, when we look at all these things on challenge 33, take note, all right? You notice that your monkey is only moving 5 steps, but from here to the first banana, my monkey needs 10 steps. So all you got to do for challenge 33, instead of x equals to 5, you change x equals to 10, you run the program, and you should be able to solve it, all right? So that is 33, 34, 35, okay? Now, students, I see some questions. Some of you have difficulty measuring the angles. I'll teach you a little trick later on how to measure angles of a polygon, all right? I'll teach you a small trick later. So that is 33, students. So students, before I move on to 36, I need to know most of you are okay. If you are okay with me moving on to 36, send a yes to the comments, send a thumbs up, send a smiley face so I know, send something so I know you can move on to challenge 36, all right? Yeah, I see Ryu is ready for 36, all right? So hang on. So a lot of 36, 36, 36. All right, now students, again, let me take note for those who are still struggling with challenge 33, 34, 35, or you might even be struggling with challenges 29, 30, 31, 32. Take note, all these things are recorded. Because they are recorded, you can watch the replay and finish the challenges accordingly, all right? Now, what I'm going to do next is I am going to move on to challenge 36, okay? So we're going to move on to challenge 36. Now, challenge 36 is tricky. Why is it tricky? Because off the bat, they've created a variable for you, and in that scenario, that variable is x equals 15. Now, what is x equals 15? Because we don't know how this works, all we got to do off the bat is just to test the code. So let's test the code first. So right away, we learn that x equals 15 represents the number of steps required to walk. Who walk? The monkey has to walk, right? So x equals 15 represents the number of steps required for the monkey to walk, all right? Now, once that is done, we take note our turtle has to move. Our turtle has to move. Now, why does our turtle have to move? Because our turtle is right now at the rightmost column, and we got to measure how many steps it requires to move to the next row or next column. So it is about 8 steps, so I will do 8. What I would do is I will now do turtle step 8. All right, turtle step 8. So let's run and see what happens. So we run the program right away, turtle step 8, and now my turtle moves to the next column. After moving to the next column, we realize there is a problem. The problem is my turtle is not repeating enough times. So there are a couple of ways you can do this. You can make a new variable, to register the times, or the most direct way is to now repeat the program 4 times. Why 4 times? Because we have 4 bananas, so we repeat it 4 times. All right. So we've got 4 bananas, we repeat it 4 times. So if you do it correctly, your monkey will cross, and right away off the bat, you get it. Now, let's see whether we get 3 stars or not. We may not get 3 stars. Let's see. All right, we got 3 stars. So there are a couple of ways you can do this. The most direct way will be adjusting the loop to represent what you want it to represent and adding in the turtle step 8. So that is challenge 36, students. Remember, your sequencing has to be right. Now, what do I mean by sequencing? Sequencing means the right steps in the right order, which means in this scenario, your monkey has to walk to the banana first. He has to walk backwards, and then the turtle must move. So that is step 1, step 2, step 3. So if you notice that, this is 1, this is step 2, this is step 3, and then you repeat all the steps again. So that is how you get the monkey to the banana itself. All right, students? So that is challenge 36. Next thing I'm going to cover is challenge 37. So I'm about to cover challenge 37, students. So hang on, all right? So next thing is challenge 37. So let's let the monkey get all the bananas first, all right? After 37, we'll do 38, and then 39, and then 40, all right? Some of you are having difficulties with the challenges. So let's go to 37. Now, on challenge 37, this is a very interesting concept. Now, you learn a new function. In this new function, you learn that there is a new function that is called say. Now, what is say? Say represents, it just display what you want it to say on the screen. Now, you can say anything. It doesn't have to be boo. It can be hi. It can be bye. It can be bye. All right, so it can be hi, it can be bye. Now, take note, challenge 37 is there where every time when you use the function say, the monkey will run away. So take note, every time we use the challenge, we use the function say, the rat will run away. So take note, when we use the function say, the rat will run away, okay? Now, once that is done, what's going to happen next is we will now make sure our monkey walks the right number of steps to the banana. So this is 15. So all I got to do now is step 15. And challenge 37 should be solved, all right? So once you do that, you notice that is step 15, challenge 37 is solved. We got all 3 stars. Students, are you ready for challenge 38? If you're ready for challenge 38, send a yes. So we know you're ready. Challenge 38 is tricky. All right, so let's look at. So if you're ready for challenge 38, send a yes, and we can move on to challenge 38, okay? We're going to go for a short break after I cover all the challenges. So students, the break is for you. If you need to use the washroom, please use the washroom. If you need to get some water, please drink some water, all right? So after I cover challenge 40, we'll go for a short break. After that break, we come back, we'll cover more challenges along the way, all right? Remember, today's job is to cover challenge 30 to 50, okay? So just hang on a while, we'll cover. So I'm going to move on now to challenge 38. Looks like most of you are ready. Let's go. Let's go. So welcome to challenge 38. Now, why is challenge 38 tricky? Because right now, you will notice that the rat is moving. Because the rat is moving, you have a tough time. Now, students, there is a clue for challenge 38. If you're not sure how this works, very simple. Look at the functions below, and you'll notice there is a function covered that you learned yesterday. And this function is called turn to. All right, this function is called turn to. You'll notice that the rat is all the way in the same area, it's just moving left and right. So the number of steps required is the same. It's about 12 steps. So you can do 12 steps, right? So 12 steps. And he can say many things. He can say, hi, let's go. He says, let's go, all right? Now, all you got to do after that is turn to. Turn to. Turn to who? You turn to the banana. Why banana? Because the banana is the object you want to get. So with turn to itself, with that is done, we run the code. You will notice the monkey runs away. And we go, oh, it's not enough steps. So let's do 15. So we chase the monkey away, and now my monkey gets to the banana. So that is how you do the code. All right, students? So that is challenge 38. Challenge 38, the function we learned from yesterday called turn to. We learned turn to from yesterday. We are using that same function in today's class. So just because you've covered challenge 0 to 30 doesn't mean what you learned from yesterday is not applicable anymore. Take note, whatever we learned yesterday will be, or rather what we covered today will be a build upon of challenges of what you've covered yesterday, right? So it's a build upon, so that is challenge 38. Now I'm going to move on to challenge 39, and then we will cover 40, and then we'll go for a short break. So students, for those who need to go to the washroom, feel free to use the washroom. For those who need to drink water, for those who need to stretch, go and stretch, and then we'll come back after we cover challenge 40 and we'll move on to 40 to 50, all right? So now this is challenge 39. On challenge 39, we notice right now there is a new function, distance to. Now, what is distance to? We don't know what is distance to. So let's just run the code, right? So let's run the code and see what happens. So distance to represents 8, and it says distance to turtle. So what happens is when we work with variables, students, take note, it does not necessarily mean you have to store a number. You can use a variable to store a function. So in this case, x is the variable and it stores a function. And this function is distance to. So in this particular case of challenge 39, right now, variables, it stores a function. And in this function, it's distance to. So instead of distance to turtle, what do we need? What do we need? Instead of distance to turtle, we will now use distance to banana. We will use distance to banana. Why distance to banana? Because remember, our objective is to get to the banana. So distance to banana. Now, I believe this will give you only 2 stars because there's a trick to this. There's a trick to challenge 39. Yep, it gave you 2 stars, right? Why do you only get 2 stars? Because students, in this challenge, you do not need say. Why no say? Because there's no rat, right? There is no rat taking your banana. So, you know, in the previous challenges, we noticed the rat is eating the banana. He's taking the banana, moving the banana around. In this situation, there is no need for say. So say is an extra code. It's there to trick you. And all you got to do is just do 2 lines of code and you would have gotten to challenge 39. You finished challenge 39. We have gotten all 3 stars. You have gotten your banana, all right? So 3 stars for challenge 39. Now, the last challenge we're about to cover is challenge 40. So challenge 40 is very tricky, all right? This is where we're going to be covering challenge 40, all right? Now, on challenge 40, first thing we take note that x, let's look at x. X represents turtle, distance to banana, all right? So x represents turtle, distance to banana. So what do we do? All we got to do is do turtle step x. Let's see what happens, all right? Now my turtle will step the required distance to banana and my monkey will move. So take note that is challenge 40. Now students, take note, this variable is different. The previous variable, our variable stored a function. In this particular case, x is the variable and it stores a object-specific function. Now, what is an object-specific function? An object-specific function basically means the function is tagged to an object or a sprite. Now, what does that mean? That means that if I want distance to, I can even do monkey distance to banana. I can do island distance to. I can do turtle distance to. So that is an object-specific function. And in this particular case, it is turtle distance to banana. All right, students. So that is challenge 40. So now you understand challenge 40. So students, we've come to challenge 40. Before we move on to 41 and 50, we are going to go for a quick break. Now, this break, remember, is a bio break for you. If you need to use the washroom, please use the washroom. If you need to go get some water, drink some water. If you need to stretch, go and stretch. We'll come back in a very short while. We'll give you a quick 5 minutes break. When we come back, we will move on to more things, all right? So take note, we'll go over a very quick break. When we come back, we'll move on to challenge 40 to 50. All right, so students, take note. When we come back, we'll move on from challenge 40 to 50. We'll go for a 10 minutes break. 10 minutes, we'll come back and we'll go on to challenge 40 to 50. So I'll see you in 10 minutes. Take note, this is a bio break. For those who have not gotten to challenge 40, do your best to catch up. Once we are done, we'll come back, we'll cover 40 to 50, all right? I'll see you in 10 minutes. Hi students, welcome back. Now, a quick announcement before we begin challenge 40 to 50. Some of you are using the trial accounts. Very important to take note. Some of you are using trial accounts. Please take note, only the login information provided by email through Science Center will allow you access to all the challenges, all right? So some of you have created trial accounts on your own. Take note, trial accounts only let you use your accounts up to challenge 30. Anything beyond that, please use the right accounts. So take note on that, okay? So students, if you're using the trial accounts, please check with your parents. They should have received an email from Science Center or even Graphite Academy. So take note on that. With those emails, you will have your login ID and your password. Now you got to use this login ID and password for all the training days. So from day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, you've got to use it for all the training days. And during these training days, you will be able to access all the challenges required. Also, competition day itself as well, all right? So please take note of the email and refer to the email accordingly, okay? So students, just take note on all those things because it's very important because we got some feedback that some of you are using the trial accounts. So for those who are using trial accounts, please move on to use your proper accounts. For those who are not sure where to find the information, so let me just share my screen so you know where to find the information, all right? Let me just do a quick share on my screen so you know where to find the information. All right. All right, students, so back on this slide itself, some of you are not referring to this slide. Parents, please take note on this as well. You have received the email from the organizers of the event, and this email will have your competition ID, your login ID, and your password. So these 3 things are very important. You will need them to log into your CodeMonkey account. Again, I have to repeat, it is not the trial accounts. It is this login ID and password that you will require to log into your own accounts, all right? So take note on that, okay? Yeah, so the competition ID is, so you can use the login ID and the password. So just use the login ID and password, all right, students? Now, for those who are still facing this issue, please let us know and we'll do our best to assist you accordingly, all right? In the meantime, what's going to happen is I'm going to be covering challenge 40 all the way to 50. You have a quick practice session around during that time, but I'll introduce you all to challenge 40 first, all right? So I'll just do a quick introduction to challenge 40. So hang on, let me share my screen. And off the bat, you will notice we are now back on challenge 40. Now, challenge 40, we've covered this already. Let's move on to challenge 41, all right? So challenge 41. All right, you all can send, you know, all the challenges you need help with in the comments. We'll do our best to address them, all right? So now, you will notice in challenge 41, it says D equals total distance to bush. In challenge 40, remember we covered object-specific functions. This is another object-specific function. In this case, it is distance to bush. Now, where's the bush? The bush is here. The bush is in the middle of nowhere. It doesn't work, right? So what we got to do is we got to measure, and we know, 19 steps from the turtle to the monkey. Let's look at this. Oh, it is about 19 steps from the turtle to the banana as well. So all we got to do for this particular case is very simple. Instead of bush, we change to distance to banana. Turtle step B, turtle step minus turtle to the banana, and now turtle will now step B again. If you do it correctly, you run the program, you will now notice your monkey will move, or rather your turtle will move and fetch the monkey back to its original position, turn towards the banana, and move the required steps to the banana. So that is challenge 41, all right, students? That is challenge 41. Now, I understand some of you have already done challenge 41 to 50. So what we're going to do, students, we're just going to go for a quick 5-minute practice time. We're just going to go for a 5-minute practice time. When we come back, we will cover the challenges that you have difficulty with. So we'll go for a quick 5-minute practice time. For those who are stuck at challenges 41 to 50, take note, we'll go for a quick 5-minute practice time. Agnes, I understand you're stuck on challenge 33. Please refer to the recording in this particular training day, day 2. We cover challenges 30 to 50. So in that recording, we will have covered challenge 33 as well, all right? So we'll go for a quick 5 minutes practice time. we will come back and we will review all the challenges that you're stuck at, the challenges that you have difficulties with, and we will cover all these things accordingly, all right? So quick one, we're going to go for a quick 5-minute practice time, all right? It's just 5 minutes. I'll see you all in 5 minutes. Hi students, welcome back to CodeMonkey. I know some of you are Coding Olympics 2021. Some of you have started working on your challenges. So while you're working on your challenges, we notice also a lot of requests, a lot of demand for certain challenges. So if you take note right now, what happens is on the screen, you'll see we'll be covering challenges 43, 44, 45, 47, 49, and 50. So that's a couple of challenges we'll be covering. So take note on that, all right? We'll be covering these few challenges. So I'm going to remove this banner. All right? So take note, students, we'll be covering those challenges. And during those challenges, if you have any questions or you're stuck at any point in time, please let us know. Once you let us know, we'll be glad to help you out as well, all right? So take note, we'll be covering 43, 44, 45, 47, 49, and 50. So it's like all the odd numbers. So it's all the odd numbers that we'll be covering, all right? So I'm going to share my screen in a bit. Now, students, you can see my screen. And on my screen, you will notice that I'm still on challenge 43. So some of you, if you're done with 43, that'd be great. What I'm going to go now, I'm going to cover challenge 43, all right? So challenge 43, hang on. Challenge 43. So the first challenge that was highly requested is challenge 43. So we'll be covering challenge 43. And whoa, challenge 43 looks so tough. Why does it look so tough? Because right off the bat, challenge 43, we do not have any prompts, or we have 2 prompts, but there are no variables involved. There are functions involved. So how do we do this? This is a little bit complicated. So we're going to be looking into challenge 43, all right? So challenge 43. So on challenge 43, what we do over here is a little interesting. You notice that your monkey is facing away from the bridge and the banana. So it's facing away from the bridge and the banana. However, you notice something interesting as well. The distance required from my monkey to the bridge is 9 steps. From the bridge to the banana is 9 steps as well. So you notice 2 things. The first thing is my monkey is facing away from the bridge, so it can't move to the bridge. But we also notice that the steps required for the monkey to move, all right, the steps required is the same from the bridge to the monkey and the bridge to the banana. So important points to take note. Now for this, in this case, so what we will do is I will do a simple variable x is equals to distance 2. Remember we learned about distance 2. Now what is the distance 2 we read now? Distance 2 bridge. Why bridge? Because it's the same steps, right? It's the same steps, same steps. Now, to make sure this is a lot better, we're going to be making a object-specific function. So I'll do monkey distance to bridge. Now, once that is done, I will turn to banana. I will step x, and then I will turn. Now I will turn to bridge. I will step x. I will now turn to banana, and I will step x again. So if you do it correctly, your code will look something like this. Ta-da! So that is how you solve it accordingly. Now that is the long way to do it. That is the long way to do it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use the short way to make sure you get 3 stars. Now how do we do that? Very simple. Instead of using a variable, we now remove the variable. We just use turn to bridge, step distance to bridge, turn to banana, step distance to banana. So that's 4 lines, right? So what happens is every single part of this code itself covers a function. So you notice the first function is turn to. The second function is distance to. So every single portion of this code requires a function turn to and step distance to. If you do it correctly, what happens is you will now be able to travel from the bridge to the banana itself, all right? So that is challenge 43. Now I'm going to move on to the next challenge, challenge 44, and then I'll move on to challenge 45. After 45, I'll make sure all of you are able to catch up. Once you're able to catch up, we'll move on to 47, 49, and 50, okay? So that is what we will be doing along the way. All right, so that is the answer for 43. Now let's look at 44. Some of you are stuck on 44. Challenge 44, now your rat is moving the banana again. So when your rat is moving the banana, remember, you have to chase the rat away. To chase the rat away, the first thing you do is say, and what do you say? You can say hello world, and your monkey will, your rat will run away, right? Once your rat runs away, the final few code is to make sure your students are okay. So make sure your monkey can get to the banana. So all you got to do now is turn to banana. With this itself, you will realize my monkey is now able to walk to the banana. So that is challenge 44. All right, so that is challenge 44. The next thing we're going to move on is we're going to move on to challenge 45. Challenge 45, you will realize that the monkey again is facing away. Remember, every time our monkey is facing away from its intended position, we have to turn to the right direction. So when we do that, we know that my monkey must first turn to, where does he turn to? He turns to bridge. Why bridge? Because he needs to turn to bridge. After he turns to bridge, he will have to step distance to bridge. After that is done, we got to make sure the monkey chases away the rat as well. I will now say, I will make sure my monkey says, what does he say? He can say, got bananas, and let's run the program. The rat runs away, I walk towards the bridge, and I walk through the banana. So that is challenge 45. So you notice challenges 43, 44, 45 covers a lot on functions. It makes sure you're used to your function. It covers a lot of object-oriented functions. So 43, 44, 45 covers a lot of object-oriented functions. With that itself, you will notice that once you solve all these things, it's actually quite straightforward. So object-oriented functions are important, all right? Now, before I move on to challenge 47, 49, and 50. So we're going to be covering challenge 47, 49, and 50. Before we cover those students, I just want to make sure, are y'all okay with challenge 43, 44, 45? If you're okay with those challenges, send a yes to the chat so I know I can move forward. I can move forward to challenge 47, 49, and 50, all right? So take note on that. So if you're okay, send a yes, and I know we can move on to challenge 49 and 50, all right, students? Some says no. Oh, no. Some says no. Some says yes. Now, again, students, if you're still catching up with the challenges, take note, you can refer to the replay on this video. All right, so for students who are not ready, that's fine. Remember, the video is available on all 4 platforms. Now, what are these 4 platforms? These 4 platforms are on YouTube, MangoSTEEMS YouTube page, the Science Center YouTube page, the CodeMonkey Facebook page, as well as the Graphite Academy Facebook page. So you can refer to all this training. You can refer to all these training videos after the end of the live session. All right, students. Okay. So take note on that. We will be moving on a lot of yes. So I'm going to move on. We are going to be covering challenge 47. All right. So we're going to jump to challenge 47. So let's move on to challenge 47. Now, challenge 47 is tricky. Why? Because now we are incorporating variables. We're incorporating variables into the challenge itself. So you notice it says D equals 4. Now, what is D? Remember, every time we look at a code and we don't understand this, we have to first identify what the variable represents. So in this case, D represents the number of steps my monkey is required to walk to get to the banana. Now, you will also notice another interesting portion. You will notice that the steps are increasing by how many? What's the numbers? 4, 8, 12, 16. What multiples are there of, students? So I see some answers. Some people say +4. So students, you notice that 4, 8, 12, 16 are multiples of 4. You will also notice that the monkey will need to increase its steps by 4 every single time. All right, so every single time we'll need to increase the steps by 4. So for 47, it's very straightforward. Instead of D equals to D plus 1, let's run the code. Let's see what happens. When I run the code, you will notice my monkey moves 4 steps. My monkey moves 5 steps. Take note of the value below. My monkey moves 6 steps, and my monkey will now move 7 steps. For this challenge 47 to be solved, all we got to do is D equals to D plus 4. I run the program, and you will be able to solve it, all right? So that's D equals D plus 4. Now my monkey is increasing steps every time. You notice it's increasing 4 steps every single time. So take note on that, all right, students? So that is challenge 47. Okay, I see a lot of requests for 48. I'll be covering 48 as well. So what's going to happen is I'll be covering 48, 49, and 50. So we'll be covering this for 3 steps, 3 challenges. All right. So next challenge I'll cover is 48, and then I'll cover 49, and then I'll cover challenge 50. Okay. So take note. So next thing we're covering is challenge 48. Now, students, again, we have to understand when we look at variables, we need to understand what does the variable represent. So the first step we do is D equals. So D is the variable, and it represents number of steps for my monkey. I'm just going to look at monkey, right? Monkey. So D is the variable, and it represents the number of steps my monkey has to walk. Now, again, we notice, if you notice 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, you notice again, it's increasing by 4. Again, all these are multiples of 4. Because it's increasing by 4, we will just do a very simple formula. Now, we learn about formulas in school, and this formula is D is equal to D plus 4. Why 4? Because D equals to D plus 4 represents the formula. So every time in the loop, after it moves step 1, step 2, it will increase the steps by 4, and you will notice this. I'll do a breakdown in a bit, all right? So D equals to D plus 4, I got 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. So I think this is about 5 times. If I do it correctly, it should be 5, and that is challenge 48. So first step, second step, third step, fourth step, because now he goes that way, right? And fifth step. So that is 5 times. Now, why 5 times? Because I got 5 bananas for my monkey to walk towards. 5 bananas. So students, take note. This is step 1. Step 1 means monkey walks. Step 2, monkey turns to the right direction. And step 3. Now, step 3, what is step 3? Step 3, why does this formula come in? This formula is here, is to increase the number of steps required for the monkey to walk. So step 3 increases the number of steps required for the monkey to walk. Now, once that is done, my monkey will be able to walk more steps. So when I go back to step D, instead of D, it is now, so first loop, it walks 8 steps. Second loop, he walks 12 steps. Third loop, he walks 16 steps. It just keeps going up all the way. And where do we start? This D is equals to 8. So it is the first start of the monkey to the first banana. So that is the first step. So 12, 8, 12, 16, you will do 20 and then 24. So that is the trick to challenge 48, students. There's a trick to challenge 48. You just need to add in a formula. D equals to D plus 4. Now I'm going to move on to challenge 49 and 50 as well. So let's move on to the next few challenges, all right? So 48, so let's finish the challenge, and then 49 and then 50. So students, I hope that explains how you do 48, all right? Students, I understand it's getting harder and harder. Students, please take note, this is why the training is available, because we understand while you practice the challenges at home, you may have difficulties with the concepts, and that's why we are running the training, all right? So let's move on to challenge 49. On challenge 49, right now there is nothing available for you. Only have a D equals to D20 now. So again, we have to first identify what does D represent. So D again represents the number of steps required. Now, right away before I move on to that, I also noticed that I have 1, 2, 3. I have 4 bananas, you see? 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, 4 steps. I'm going to move 4 times. So off the bat, the first thing I will do is I will add in the loop that says 4 times. Why 4 times? So I want to make sure it moves 4 times, right? After that is done, I will step D, turn which direction? So my monkey has to turn the right direction. So turn right. And this is the trick to challenge 49. Instead of increasing the steps, we are now decreasing the steps by how many? By 3. So the formula for this will be D is equal to D minus 3. And if we run the code correctly right away off the bat, you will notice my monkey is now moving the right amount of steps. So that is challenge 49. So this is a reverse of what we learned in 48. Instead of increasing numbers, we are now decreasing the number. So this is the reverse of challenge 48. All right, students. So that is challenge 49. So students, all okay with 49 now? I'm moving a bit fast, but remember, take note, all the challenges that we cover, 43, 44, 45, 47, 48, 49, 50, all these challenges are covered in this particular training. So if you are lost, always refer to the training video so that you can catch up, all right? So remember, after the training is over, all the videos are available on the 4 platforms. You will be able to refer to this to complete your challenges. So now let's move on to challenge 50. Challenge 50 is the last challenge for today. On 50, this is where it gets tricky. Now, what does 6 represent? So remember, when we look at variables, first thing we do, what do my 6 represent? So D equals 6. So D is the variable, and it represents steps for my turtle. That is the trick here. My turtle is moving D steps. Now 3 times. So first thing I got to do is turtle step D, and then he steps for monkey steps 14, step minus 14. Why minus 14? My monkey has to go back to its original position, and then I will now add in the final code, which is D is equals to D class 2. Now, why is it class 2 now? Because 6, 8, 10 is increasing by 2 steps each time. So now I run the code. You'll notice now my monkey moves forward, he moves backwards, and then, oh, the value changes. It is now 8. He comes back. The value changes again. It now moves on to 10 steps. So that is challenge 50. Now remember, students, when we learn about variables, we covered variables is a store of information that can be later manipulated or changed as and when we need it. So students, again, take note, variables is a store of information. And in this particular challenge, or if you notice throughout challenges 30 to 50, every time we add in a formula inside a loop, we are changing that information to our requirement. So in this particular case, I am changing the value in the variable to represent what I need it to represent. All right, so I'm changing the value. So take note, students, variables represent a store of information, and by adding a formula inside the code, we are able to now change the value inside the variables to make sure things are all right. So that is challenge 50 as well. Now, students, take note, we've come to the end of day 2. Couple of announcements before we end the day. Take note, students, tomorrow we'll be starting again at 3 p.m. sharp. At 2:30, we'll be starting the live broadcast. You can start coming in at 2:30, but 3 o'clock, the training will start on time at 3 p.m. All right, so that is it. Again, quick announcement for those students who are still using the trial accounts, please use the accounts with the login ID and password provided by the organizers of this event. So parents, you should have received an email from the organizers of this event. In that email, you will have the login ID and password for this particular itself. All right, so once you use those ID and those login ID, you will be able to access challenges beyond challenge 30. All right, students, I'll see you tomorrow for day 3 of training. Thank you for spending time with us, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.
The world is rapidly advancing, and with its continuous development, technology has become an integral part of our lives. So I ask you, is your child prepared for a knowledge-based future? Well, Graphite Academy has got your back. Innovation, knowledge, and critical thinking is what our academy offers. Founded in 2016 to prepare students for a highly digitalized future, we have conducted programs in over 120 different schools and have taught more than 10,000 students to date. Our quality coding curriculum is designed to impart analytical and critical thinking. Its challenging nature aids students in thinking beyond the prescribed course, preparing them to solve complicated problems. This pedagogy-focused curriculum is delivered to our students with a handful of specialists in coding and passionate faculty. The strategy of small-sized classes adds to a conducive learning environment where students can polish their thinking skills. Progressive curriculum, active parent engagement, extensive exposure to multiple platforms ensures that your child is equipped with ample amount of skill that could be advantageous for them in the workplace tomorrow. Our rigorous teaching system ensures that our faculty is well trained to provide educational and enjoyable lessons. We hold the pride of yielding knowledgeable, creative, and critical minds. So what are you waiting for? Get in touch with us.
Hi, I'm Paul Kim. I'm the Chief Technology Officer and Associate Dean at the Graduate School of Education at Stanford University. When I educate students, I would always emphasize the goal of knowing yourself and knowing others, and that would require a certain set of mindsets and attitudes. I call this global leaders who understand what the grand challenges may be for this world, and knowing the dire needs that others might have. Our programs are designed to address the challenges of today and also the challenges of tomorrow. FlyingCape has a vast array of network with education leaders and education service in Singapore and in many other countries. The team focuses on understanding the learners and helping them find their best talent, and at the same time help more students to become better and successful learners for life.
Computer programming is quickly becoming a basic skill our kids need to learn in order to thrive in today's economy. CodeMonkey teaches programming in a way that's effective and fun. Kids are excited about advancing from stage to stage, and they love the cute characters, great graphics, and engaging challenges. CodeMonkey teaches kids a real coding language from day one as opposed to blocks. Kids as young as third graders are writing real code intuitively and easily. This way, when they later learn languages like Java, the transition is really smooth. CodeMonkey was designed for teachers to use in a classroom environment. The platform includes an easy-to-use dashboard that lets you follow students' progress, tools for grading, and detailed lesson plans. We also have a training program and ongoing support for teachers. Reactions to CodeMonkey have been amazing. We love hearing from excited kids and teachers who are seeing their students learn advanced coding and enjoying every minute. Want to bring CodeMonkey to your school? We'd love to hear from you. Go to playcodemonkey.com and drop us a line. CodeMonkey. Write code, catch bananas, save the world.
Plus is a dynamic blended learning platform that combines teacher-led instruction, independent practice, formative assessment, and data-driven reporting to improve the reading skills of every student at every level. By providing high-quality instructional tools with high-interest leveled books in multiple formats, Raz Plus strengthens the connection between what is being taught and what students are practicing on their own. teachers can easily assign digital resources to reinforce instruction that students can access online anytime, anywhere. Through our Kids A to Z e-learning portal, students can access content assigned by their teacher or read designated leveled books on their own using a computer or mobile device. Every leveled book on RAS Plus utilizes our best-in-class leveling system to ensure a developmentally appropriate reading experience for your students. All online reading activity and assessment results are tracked and reported back to the teacher through online, data-driven reports, making it easy to see what's working and inform future instruction. With RAS Plus, it's never been easier to combine effective whole class, small group, and one-to-one learning with engaging, developmentally appropriate reading practice. Teachers and students both have all the resources they need, all in one place. Great job this week! Your reading's really improved. Start your free 2-week trial today to see how RAS Plus takes students' reading to the next level.